If you're active and you've had a hip replacement, you probably want to get back to exercise, lifting, activities that you love, but you're not exactly sure how to progress from physical therapy into those activities again because you don't want to have a setback, and of course you don't want to have a risk of dislocations. And the hesitancy can cause many people to stay on the sofa and stay inactive for far too long. We don't want that. I'm Lorna Kleidman. I'm an 8-time world champion athlete, personal trainer, and the creator of Hip Ease. I've had both my hips replaced and still have been able to get back to my athletic endeavors in kettlebell sport very successfully. I want to help you to do the same in whatever activities that you love. So in this video, I'm going to show you 8 basic exercises to start back and with modifications so that you can get strong and stay strong for the long game of life. What I'm going to show you today doesn't override your surgeon's guidelines or your physical therapy protocols. When you're sent home after your procedure, you're usually given, most people are given, movements that help the circulatory system, such as ankle pumps and knee quad squeezes and heel to butt, things like that. But now, about 3 months after your surgery, once your PT is done and once you have your surgeon's approval, we can go into these next exercises and with modifications if needed. I'm going to show you. The first exercise is a squat pattern. Let's use a chair, and I'm going to put a block on top to reduce the range of motion. This is going to be the target for your butt. And to reduce my body weight, I'm going to use a TRX. You can also use a strap. Feet hip width and fingers lightly on the TRX just to help you reduce your body weight. Touch and stand. Touch and stand. About 12 to 15 reps. Once that becomes really easy, you can go deeper, still using the TRX if you want. Touch and stand. And then as that becomes easier, we'll remove the strap, touch and stand. You can also add weight to this. So we could use a kettlebell or a dumbbell. And this is how I still squat. I squat to the bench. Whether I'm doing a kettlebell front squat or a barbell squat, I reduce my range of motion because even though I've had my hips replaced, I still don't have great range of motion in my hips. I never had. It's just the way my hips are structured. So this is how I squat, especially when I go heavy. Another way to squat is using these heel wedges. This lifts your heels up and gives you more room to sink down. I could never do this without having my heels lifted. These are really helpful. It's very comfortable. And then you can add some weight, goblet squat, either with a dumbbell or a kettlebell. The second move is standing hip abduction for the gluteus medius and minimus, our lateral hip stabilizers. These are so important for the strength of our hips, the stability of our back, the health of our knees. So I'm going to use my barbell. You can use a countertop, light fingertips on, stand on one leg, touch the other toe to the side and bring back, touch and bring back, about 15 each side. If you can release your hands and just balance while you do it, that's great. And then to make it more challenging, you can add a resistance band above your knees. Again, touch and bring back. You don't want to lean away from the leg. Keep yourself upright. And both sides are working. So even though one side is moving, the standing hip is stabilizing. So both sides are working when you're doing this. The third movement is a split squat, and this is where we can really utilize the block because it gives us different heights, the tall height, the medium height, and the flat height. So start on the tall side, and you're going to have one foot behind the block, a few inches away, maybe 5 inches. Step the other leg forward, and you're on the ball of the foot back here. You can use your chair for support and balance, and then bend your knees until that back knee touches and stand. Touch and stand. And then once in a while, check your balance. Maybe you don't need the chair, but it's good to have it there if it's been a while since you've done these exercises. And then you can lower the block if you want to go deeper. And then, of course, there's the flat position. Now you can add weights to this as you progress and get stronger. And if you want to add some time under tension, you can touch, halfway lift, touch, stand, touch, halfway lift, touch, stand. Next is single leg step up. You can use the chair again if necessary. 1 foot on, shift your weight, and stand. Either touch that toe or try to balance, and then slowly lower. What we're working here is quadriceps, glutes, hamstrings, and a lot of stability through this lateral hip. The fifth movement is a hip hinge. This is an athletic stance position, such as for tennis or pickleball or any kind of movements that are shifting weight, and with kettlebell swing, something that a lot of us love to do. So what you want to do is place your palms up right under your hip bones. Palms up, and as you send your butt back, and the way you're going to feel that is I want you to use a chair or a wall. You're going to stand a few inches away. Send your butt back, creasing at the hips until you touch the wall or the chair, and then stand. Once you have this sensation and this hip hinge, one straight line, you can then start to slide your hands down your thighs and stand, because then we're going to add weight. Keep your fingernails attached to your legs and stand. So you're not thinking going down, you're thinking going back. And this is really great. Hips, glutes, and hamstrings specifically. You're also getting a lot of abs here. Next up is glute bridges. So on your back, feet parallel, and you're going to push the ground away. Lift your hips, squeeze your butt at the top, slowly lower. Now when you initiate, don't arch your back to lift your hips, okay? Keep your ribs heavy and try to just lift your hips, keeping the ribs heavy. Squeeze instead of here. This is a truer position, isolating the glutes and the hamstrings, and lower. Lift, hold, lower. And there are many different variations of this, so you can lift and march, keeping the hips up. You can do a single bridge. You can also walk out as far as you can, keeping the hips up, and come back. Many different options. Exercise 7 is forearm side planks. I'll be honest, for most of my clients, and maybe you, this is nobody's favorite in the beginning, but as you get stronger and you go through all the different variations, of which there are many, it becomes quite enjoyable. And what's great about the forearm side plank is you're working your shoulder, your obliques, and your lateral hips. So there's a lot going on. We're going to start with your elbow under your shoulder and knees bent. And you can lift, hold for time, maybe 15, 30 seconds, maybe more. Build on your time every other week. And you can also, or do hip lowering and lifting. Next progression, hip lift, leg down, hip down. Hip, leg, hip. Next progression, straighten the top leg, and again, hold for time or lower toward the floor and lift. Next, lift and lower. And then we can straighten both legs, either stagger or stack. Staggering is a little bit easier because you have a greater base of support. Come on up for time, or lower and lift. And then another variation is to stay up and lift the top leg, lower and lift. And the 8th exercise is about balance. So let's shift your weight to one leg, lift the other foot, just get a sense of balance for a moment. And then as you gently bend the standing leg, touch in front, stand, try to balance. Bend, touch to the side. Gentle bend, touch to the back. We'll go about 6 rounds each side. Back. Another balance drill is walking a tightrope, putting heel in front of toe. And then you can take it backward. Great for proprioception. And then maybe you want to take your eyes left and right as you walk, just challenging your vestibular system. Left and right with the eyes. And that's it. If you've been released from physical therapy and you have your surgeon's permission to continue exercise, then choose 3 or 4 of these movements and do them about 3 times per week, starting gradually and progressing slowly, consistently to the more advanced versions. If you like this video, please share, like, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time for information about your hip replacement journey and fitness in general.